Welcome to Transformative or Traditional. I'm your host, Tamara Lane. We are here to verify or debunk current news, headlines, events, or policies. Here to help us is our guest, Dan Hendry, along with his expertise in sustainable and public transportation. Dan, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you are here because you are working on some really cool stuff. So just to give everybody more of an idea, you have a simple but powerful model to transform public transportation, and it starts with training youth. Your success in Kingston, Ontario, with on-bus orientation and free passes increased high school ridership from 28,000 to close to 600,000 annually. And you're now working with Small Change Fund to apply Kingston's model to cities across Canada through the Youth Transit Program. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a bunch of work that, when I was a 12-year-old boy, I didn't know I was going to love buses this much, but they've taken me over. They're my thing now.
Awesome. Well, are you ready to decide transformative or traditional?
I've been waiting all week. Let's go.
Yes, that's what I want to hear. All right. Our first article is actually from Business Wire, and the headline is Bird and We Go Public Transit from Nashville's first private public partnership focused on expanding access to e-scooters. All right. So let's dig into that just a little bit. A leader in environmentally friendly electric transportation and We Go Public Transit, Nashville's public transit agency, today announced a pilot program in which the two entities will team up to bridge first and last mile transit gaps with Bird's eco-friendly micro-electric scooters. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Micro-electric scooters. So could this be a transformative public-private partnership?
100%. 100%. North America, we are built around the car, right? And we think about that. Our built environment influences so much. Like I know through my work, I know students that take the bus, or anybody really, they get 64% more likely to get their daily physical activity. And that's usually that last mile, right? So that's that barrier sometimes for people. It's like, oh, I can take the bus, but I can't connect here. Or as transportation systems, bus systems, public transit systems can grow and get better, we always have to think about that piece, right? It's how we built our environment. So for sure, we have to, in mid-sized cities, large cities, look at opportunities and creative solutions to really make our cities a bit more people-centric.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so one for transformative. So our next headline is Israeli bus operators must buy only electric buses by 2026. Okay, so what does that mean? Israel has ordered all bus operators in the country to buy only electric buses before 2026. So they're cutting it off at 2026. The Ministry of Environmental Protection also announced immediate targets to reach 100% zero emissions for public transportation by 2036. It has been shown that electric buses cut greenhouse gas emissions by up to 80% and reduce noise. So is this transformative or traditional?
I'm going to say, again, transformative. Like they have a plan. There's a deadline. Electrification is huge. Like when we're talking about greenhouse gases, and I actually did my master's in Sweden around climate change and sustainability. And when I was born in the 80s, carbon was about 300 parts per million. We're up to 412 now. 1804, 1927, 1960, 74, 87, 99, 2011, 1 more billion people every one of those years. There's some pretty crazy exponential growth going on there. And we live in a bubble. We really do, right? So when we talk about this is transformative the way that we need the technology to reduce greenhouse gases, right? Very smart from a business point of view as well. Think about it. The cost to run is a lot less with electrification. You have so many less moving parts, no more oil changes, right? All that stuff ties in as they build their capacity, 100% transformable. Now, the other thing that I think we need, and we'll talk about, is bums in seats. Bums in seats. So the technology is one thing, but we also have to apply strategies to make better frequency, reliability, all the things that I think have been underfunded and truthfully stigmatized over the years around public transit. I think this is transformative because we need the tech there, but we got to get bums in seats.
I love it. And I can't wait to hear more about your plans. But first, We have our last article now
Yep.
from Freight Waves, which I actually love the name of this outlet. So the headline, Utah combats carbon emissions and poor air quality with free fare February, which we are in. Utah Transportation Authority has announced that all UTA buses and rail services will allow passengers to use their services for free for the month of February in an effort to improve air quality. The hope is that if passengers are incentivized to use UTA transportation during free fare February, they will use their personal vehicles less, reducing vehicle emission. So, is this transformative or a normalized public transit step?
I would say it's more, I wouldn't say normalized, but I don't know if it's transformative yet. I don't know if it'll change the behavior, right? 28 days isn't that long. I like that it will allow for people to maybe disrupt their patterns. We're so used to doing the same thing. Get out in the morning. How many people walk out without even thinking about any other option than just getting in their car, right? So it gives that option, which I think is great. But I don't know if it will be impactful enough to sustain behavioral change over time. But I still I'm very positive. When I look at all these different opportunities to change systems, I never want to say something's bad because it's the right step. I just don't know it'll have as much long-term impact as other things, but it could be the first step for that, you know?
No, that's great. It's interesting because we're talking about not only changing systems and technology, but you're right on. It's behavior. And that's key to driving all of this change. So Dan, thank you so much for diving in and debunking ESG and SDG items today. But before we let you go and do your transformative work, can you please tell us one thing that you're focused on right now that we can share with our community?
100%. If anyone look me up, ask about it, but youth transit programming. Think of it. Before 16, before the license, before what we've romanticized, we give them freedom at a young age. Everybody, equity, access to jobs, school, all these different pieces. Public transit can do that, get bums in seats at a young age before they have their license. And then it normalizes them having it for the rest of their life. They know how to use it, right? That's what we've seen in Kingston. So anyone wants to reach out and learn more about youth transit programming, we've seen a big shift here, and I'm happy to share the message.
That's amazing. And you know what? So I'm a New Yorker. So taking the subway and public transportation is it's like walking down the street for me. It's just completely natural. It's like breathing. So I love what you're doing, and your work is just absolutely incredible. So that is it for this week's Transformative or Traditional. If you would like more insight into implementing positive ESG and SDG outcomes, follow Systems Changer on social media or dive into our community think tank of experts. You can find that at systemschanger.com, and that's changer without the E. All right, everybody. See you next week.